So here we are. I believe everything is on. Holly Hemmett is here. Welcome, everyone. Holly's in the house. Holly's in here first. He slid into the domain first, and I was gonna make sure I was gonna shout out everybody's name that's usually in here, and I'll do that in a second. I want to put the shorter version of the title today, November 14th. Uh, and of course, the shorter version is new timelines always exist. And I didn't type it in. Okay. New timelines always exist. So that's the shorter version. The longer version, I'll just state it. The longer version is no need to slide down anyone's rabbit hole. New worlds are formed daily because new timelines always exist. Well, thank you for joining me today. I'm Brother Francis Revels-Bey. I am the originator, creator of Clear Blue Radiance podcast. Every Thursday is usually done here on the Resident Essentials YouTube channel. Um, and Resident Essentials is a nonprofit organization, so its new title is Resonant Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics. And I've been associated with its founder a very long time, which is Michelle Vidal. I've known her since Ashley originally met her out here at a SEED conference here in 2012. And then I didn't see her for another 2 or 3 years, I think 3 years. And then she was invited to an event at a coffee shop here, excuse me, on the east side called Mocha Mug. And I was doing something there called an Evening of Remembrance with myself, Brother Francis. And in this coffee house location, there were about 33 people sat around in there. And I had someone who was a friend at the time working with me, and the friend would be off on the side, kind of around the corner from where I was, and she was doing the scalar wave thing with the pyramid, where a person could lay under the pyramid and hold these two vajras, which has wires that are connected to a mat stuffed with embedded crystals. And they would listen, wear blindfold, and listen to meditation music. And so all this was a part of that event. But I was giving a one of my original creative pathwork meditation techniques, and it was a guided journey designed to open up the auric field in the entire place. And in that place, it allowed people to relax more, and then I could tune in and give them the appropriate message that I was receiving from many of my ancestors, spirit guide connections, and so forth. And uh, that's how I got to meet her. And then that was in 2015. Met tons of other people in that 3 year stretch from 2012 on, and then eventually came to her location, attending some of her workshops and classes that some of her people that were affiliated with her. And then I eventually taught I believe, a pendulum workshop there. And then eventually I started becoming the meditation teacher. All of this transpired in 2018. In fact, I gave an all day workshop called Mentoring Masters Entering Mastery. And that was kind of fun. I taught 8 different topics. I didn't miss a beat. Sometimes people teach out here and they say that they're going to teach everything and then they wound up not teaching everything. But I taught all 8, as I said that I would teach. I taught Tai Chi Kong. I taught that was in the afternoon. I taught how to work with pendulums. That was in the morning. Gave people a white light meditation, showed them how to use it. We did a pink chakra meditation for the heart, did a lot of different things, and was able to have people explore and understand and see and be able to receive. That's the best part, able to receive information that they can go right out into the world and use. And it was 8 hours. It was a long day. We had, of course, 10-minute breaks in the morning and in the afternoon, and we had a good solid 45-minute break, because that information takes a long time to work within each person's field of understanding. And then later we all got together. It got together when it was all done and hurried out the door and went and had a nice meal at a restaurant. So um, was always doing these things, and this is not my first time. I've been, as they say, a spiritual counselor for over 40, 45 plus years now. I've been helping many people like yourself gain absolute clarity for yourself so you can see where you're going. Many of the new thought people out there have taught for years upon years that life is flowing through us, is not coming at us, it's flowing through us because we're this energetic field, we're this open door energy, we're the gateway, and everything is actually manifesting itself through us. And that's why I wanted to use this particular topic today, because not only is it about helping people gain greater clarity for themselves, but it is also helping people decide what their purpose is. We all have purposes and a specific purpose that we came into this world with, that we decide, okay, I'm going to pick this one as opposed to this other one because I did this other one in several other lifetimes, 600, 6,000, 60,000 years ago, according to the earth plane of experience. So I'm going to try this one out. And then there are a whole soul group things that happen, right? There's whole soul groups that are playing quote unquote bad guy. And there's whole soul groups playing quote unquote the good guy. So sometimes we say, I hope I'm not on that other team. I did the dark side language long time ago. I'm tired of that. I'm gonna go over here and find out over here it ain't even isn't any easier. But it's kind of easier to see the other side work, quote unquote, the magic, which can control the directions and attitudes and outlook and insights and visions and dreams. But we all have the power to get through the matter. So I had to make my brief notes here. I should actually have made them longer. So I will have to kind of replay it myself, the video. And I'm fortunate because the last 2 Thursdays we had some weather situations going on, and I was not able to come on, and podcast live. And I think what I might do whenever things like that happen, pre-record one and upload it into the platform here. Well, anyway, this particular topic, it is a topic that helps us discover new ways of governing our own life and the loved ones who are a part of us. Now, granted, we just had this election and it threw a lot of us for a loop. I know I was one of them. But deep down inside, I kind of suspected some things would go the other way. And because There's people who have many tools and ways to manipulate things. However, there's this that happens. As much as a person tries to manipulate to create a negative atmosphere, things that they are hiding from the public comes out, and we're going to see a lot more of it. So, if people say, "Hold on to your hats," put another seat belt buckle in, put another roll bar in. What is best to happen sometimes is to allow whatever our feelings are to come to the surface. By allowing our feelings, our true feelings, our hurts, our pains, whatever we want to call it, our sadness to float and come above. Why? Because we get a chance to release it. And we are all powerful beings because in our auric field are powerful energy forms overflowing with divine intelligence that will manipulate that energy, burn it out, clarify it, release it, break it down into particles and dust, and like a vacuum cleaner, suck it up out of the auric field. So these things are truly essential. And while I made my list of who's in here, so I don't miss anybody. Holly Hemmett made it up in here first. So I'm thanking him. I'm thanking Golden Timeline when she gets here. Golden Timeline 777, I think she uses. Barbara Ewing will be in here. Melanie Hall will get here or come through later. Uh, Lauren White sometimes comes through here. Jackie Fillmore makes it. Samara Woods makes it. Uh, there's Indigo Moon. I didn't want to put a real name in. Indigo Moon shows up here too. So I want to thank everybody that comes here. It doesn't matter to me how big the audience is the right audience, the right people help bring forth this information. So one of the things we are always in the process of doing. See, she said, I'm here. Glad that you are. One of the things we always have to do, and those of us that are striving in this lifetime, in the lifetime timeline that we're in, that's what I should say, in the timeline that we are all striving to what increase our light within our lives so it helps influence or impacts or it leaves something in the field for others who are loved ones, neighbors, friends, seniors, elders, young children, disabled veterans, disabled people, and veterans. It leaves something there for people to latch on to because everyone doesn't always have the keys. I'll say that again. Everyone does not always have the keys to turn on the light within their life. And they often are looking for light in the darkness. And we have to take it upon ourselves to become the light for ourselves first. That's first and foremost. Come the light, be the light for yourself. Then be the light for those who are close to you, your loved ones, your friends, family members are part of that loved ones, right? Your colleagues that you move through the world with, your neighbors, right? And then people that you don't even know. But you have to, we all have to. And I'm not perfect. I go through things too that can be very painful. That's why we see that phrase, be kind to people because you never know what they are going through. Everybody has a process in which to do things and a process to get through things. And sometimes it's good, when sometimes I wouldn't say it's good, but when you have a certain amount of pain and emotions and anger that comes up, it's best expressing it, but in a way where it doesn't affect other people It's better expressing it, getting it out of your system so that you have room for clear energy, clear and more positive energy to flow through you. So that's why I came up with today's title: No Need to Slide Down Anyone's Rabbit Hole. Now, when we think of a rabbit hole, we think of the rabbit furrowing into the earth, right? So we know that sometimes that furrowing into the earth is where secrets are held. And many times people are busy trying to cover up their own, you know what, putting it in that hole. And hopefully you don't smell the poisons that came from them that they put in there. Hopefully you don't find the things that are placed there designed to upset everyone else. Hopefully we don't come across people who want to spew their anger toward us because they're angry with themselves. And it's hard for us to bring that up in our mind that that person yelling and screaming and calling you all kind of names or whatever is actually calling themselves that. So often we have to sometimes people say, well, those things happen to you because they're inside of you. Not all the time. There's a lot of people here who have done a lot of work on the planet, who are in their 30s or in their 40s, or like myself in their 70s, do a lot of work every day on yourself. So every time someone is acting out in front of you, that does not necessarily mean that you're the one that's putting it out there, but you are the one who's witnessing it, and you have a chance to shift or change the channel. Sometimes that person in front of you has to act out because they can feel that you're different than they are. And that is true. You're different than others who are around you, who are in front of you. So sometimes you got to take a step back or to the side, like they do in martial arts, flip something away from you, deflect something because it's not for you, but they need to express. So when we see all this stuff riding around in the street, people, waving flags and acting out, we might say, well, why do I got to experience that now? And that's what I was almost saying a few days ago. I'll use myself as an example. What? I'm in my 70s. Why I got to see all this now? And I sat with it for a while, and I sat with it for a while, and I sat, and I didn't like it. But then I was almost what? Getting ready to fall into someone else's rabbit hole, someone else's trap. So I chose not to be entrapped. I chose to maintain freedom in my mind. That's what people tell you who go off to federal prisons, right? They have to learn how to survive in that atmosphere from whoever's next to them, across to them, behind, whatever, cell block, whatever. That person has to survive on some level. And then, if they're fortunate, they may attract to them people who have been there quite for some time and know the game that people are playing to help that person who's just now in there to get around the maze without being harmed. It is the same in this life that we claim to have freedom. We vote or we don't. If we don't cast a vote, it's for the other side. That's why I was trying to get some people that I knew and went to school with. Like, if you don't cast a vote, you did cast the vote. No, I didn't. I said, yeah, you did for the other side. So here's something that we have to keep in mind. We are in control of our own lives. It may not look like it, but we are. We are based on the inkling, tiny seed thought that we have on the inside. And it's left up to us to shield it with a shell of energy so it's not being seen and not being picked at or poked at. So we have to find a way to stay in the flow with our own energy field and not someone else's. So we don't ever have to flow in someone else's energy field. That's like if you go, I think I mentioned a few times before, you ever going out to eat someplace and you might go by yourself or you go with one or two friends or a partner, and you go into a place and you sense something's off here. I don't know what it is, but something is amiss. And you begin to think, well, what is that thing that is amiss? What's out of place? It's the energy in the place that's out of place. So you start investigating, you start letting your body, like a pendulum, feel cool or warm or excited, or you feel, uh-oh, there's some anger in here. So you start acting like a pendulum, putting your hands out like a dowser, and you go around, I'm not going to sit up, we shouldn't sit over there in that corner. Something is off. Sooner or later, you tip your head, just like animals do. They tip their head, you hear something. And then, you move. But now you have a line of sight going right into the kitchen. And you see people in there arguing. Emotionally, energy is very high. And they're very angry, very upset. And so their thoughts are going into the food that they are preparing. And it's hitting all the food, just not some of the food, all of the food. If it's a buffet, or I call it a buffet, if it's a buffet going on, that food is got the argument embedded in the food. Doesn't matter if it's salads, fruit salads, soups, sauces, creams, and any other thing else that's in those trays. All that negative energy is in there. And people scoop it and will eat that negative energy, ingest it in their body physically, and it's going to make them sick because it's going to go right into the bloodstream. It's going to upset the digestive tract and the mental tract and the emotional tract. So you have to see that, understand it, and what? Vacate. Don't eat there. Leave that place. Shake that energy off. Find another location. It is the same like in life. You're at a job and you're going to decide to sit in the cafeteria, but people could have an intense argument. You don't want to be there either. You're better off outside, or as some people say, I drove to work, so I'm going to get my lunch and go right into the parking lot and eat my lunch in my car. Then I'm free. But not many people have that. So what does one need to do? A person needs to create an energy field around themselves. And then they need to empower themselves with that energy field so that they could be at a place of peace. And you might think, well, 3 feet out, 3 feet, that may be 9 foot diameter. No, go for the gut zone, man. Go put it out there that it's a bigger field than that. Say to yourself a radius of 10 feet to your right and to your left, so that's 20-foot diameter. And you sitting right center. And if it's intense enough, people will go past your area and go sit someplace else. People won't try to push themselves, but some people are sensitive enough and will try to push their way in. And you can always move. You don't have to sit there. You don't have to play the game that they want to play just because they're aware that something is energetically happening around you. But I say all this because we are empowered in every moment to shift energy. We don't have to ask someone's permission. Can we shift the energy in a room? Just shift it. You have a free mind, free spirit, free heart. Shift it. Put into the ethers peace, harmony, and happiness. Peace, harmony, and happiness. You're sitting, you're standing. Peace, harmony, and happiness. And if you've got that energy revved up enough where when you say peace, harmony, and happiness, everything's going to get quiet. Even the people who were agitated at each other. We do not have to be entrapped by a mindset. See, people are set in their ways of how they're thinking something's supposed to be. Some people are accustomed to going out and argue all the time, from the taxi or from their car, from Uber, all the way to their destination, arguing, creating an upsetting atmosphere. You don't have to be involved in that. The third dimensional realm only appears real because we focus all of our attention on it. And we're not the only ones. So there's millions of other people, thousands of other people within a 10 block radius of you, a 5 block radius, thinking the same thing, this world is real. So you got all of those minds going on, and then across the state, and then across the entire continent and around the world, this is real. And so much energy and trust has placed on the molecules and the atoms that they say, okay, well, we're going to make this world real today. And when you go to sleep in this world, you will wake up and it's still the same physical world. And when you go to sleep again, you finally wake up, it is sunrise and it's the same physical world. But your cells may say to you, oh, wait a minute, I didn't ring that up. I rang up something differently. So what has transpired is there's a you appear to be different after a while. If your energy is solely working on the fact that you're not living in someone else's rabbit hole, but you're creating a whole new world for yourself, and that you expect to experience that whole new world for yourself, then things will change. So I found two people. One I had the pleasure of finally meeting. The first one I was seeing a concert every now and then or in a club and I never met the person. That person is jazz guitarist George Benson. Jazz guitarist George Benson wrote a tune many, many years ago. I would think he wrote that tune back in the 70s or the 80s, maybe the 90s. And there was a tune called Everything Must Change. One of the lyrics was everything must change and nothing remains the same. So it didn't matter if it was winter or fall, spring or summer, you were going to have change. You were going to experience change. That's what he was saying. We experience in age. I look back now, here I'm 72. I look back now. What happened over the past 50 years that I'm now 72? And I start to reflect on it. That's what I was doing the other day when I kind of got upset. I started reflecting what in tarnations is going on here? Why am I seeing these changes happening? What must I do to change the scenario or viewpoint that I was seeing? And I decided that I'm creating a certain degree of it. I'm allowing certain patterns of behavior to enter my space only because I'm thinking about certain things too much that really have no connection to me. So I found that tune, Everything Must Change. Subtitle, Nothing Remains the Same. Well, I bought a book. I bought this book long ago. I met this gentleman. Everybody knows his name is Neil Donald Walsh. He lives up usually in the northwest part of the United States, and he teaches a lot of different classes how to connect with your spiritual vibration, the essence of God in you and around you. And I met him eventually out here. Hmm. No, I actually met him back east. It was, I believe, it was 2000 because I came here 2012. So 2011, in fact, in a few more days, I'll be celebrating 11/15, my late father's birthday, when I came out here in 2011. But I met him in 2010. 2010, I met him at a Mums Festival, Metaphysical um, Universal Ministry out in Allendale, Pennsylvania, and he was giving a lecture. And my friends that I was with at that time, their first time going to something like that, they eventually met him later here in 2012. Well, the interesting factor was he wrote a book. Now, he was the guy that was living homeless, as you know, for so many years. Things fell apart and he began to live homeless. And then he began to hear what he said was the voice of God, right? And then eventually he wrote a series of books that became bestsellers that brought him out of that condition called Conversations with God, where he was answering and hearing and feeling what he needed to understand about how life is and how life can change. So, this man, Neil Donald Walsh, he wrote other books, and I have one of his other books on my shelf. I should have brought it over here. It's called When Everything Changes. When Everything Changes, Change Everything. And you might think, well, why would it be such a simplistic title? But it's correct. He said, when you notice things are changing around you and it's shifting and it's creating uh, uh, uncertainty around you, and you don't feel emotionally where you want to be, and you don't feel mentally where you want to be, then you have to make some changes. And it was interesting because when we decide to make the change, things look differently. This is why I say in the opening statement, I've been doing this work for over 40 some odd years, and I like to help you gain a greater clarity because that's what I'm doing for myself. See, we don't master everything right away. It's an ongoing living process. And I said I like to help people discover the purpose. But guess what? This is something I realize. Your purpose changes. Your purpose changes often. That's right. Why? Because you're changing. As you evolve, things around you have to get higher or drop off the planet from being around you. Right? Has to get higher or drop off the planet from being around you. Why? Because it no longer fits who you are becoming. So every time we change, we're going to have a different outlook. And sometimes we'll change back because we're not comfortable with the change. But usually, what will happen is this: we will have an experience, and then we will shift that around. In other words, we'll see it differently. We'll begin to understand it differently. We'll hear a different pitch within ourselves. So, just as much as people are planning to control things or control you at the same time, guess what? You're going to shift anyway. Why? Because every moment You are creating a new world for yourself. In every moment, you are creating a new world for yourself. You are making a shift. You are changing the world as you see it. People say, how long you think you're going to live? I'm going to live as long as I'm supposed to live or I'm ought to live. As long as I have breath and can breathe, I'm living moment to moment. If we pay attention to that energy field called life, we're putting stuff in it ourselves, and everybody else is putting stuff in it. But we're here to shift. So when Neil Donald Walsh's book, so he wrote that book, I think right around the time when there was a lot of other stuff happening and going on. And some of this came from his earlier understanding when people like the soldiers coming from war, what do? They see war in living color, the pain, the hurt, the blast, you name it. They are fortunate to come out of it unscathed, but some are still troubled by it, scarred by it. And what he was saying was, as these changes happen, we have to shift out of the way. We have to get out of the way of certain patterns of behavior. A perfect example, you may have grown up in a dysfunctional family. You've got to shift. You may have been the victim of a very abusive, emotional, mental, and physical partner. Not many people make it and become sane again. But those who can, who have an outlet, have someone to carry them out of those environments and then work with their rebuilding their wellness about themselves, then people can now express themselves and they don't let someone else manipulate and change them because now they are doing the changing. They're now allowing themselves to become free because they can make up their own mind and they're no longer living in fear. So we never want to live in someone's world, for there are many worlds forming everywhere. There are many worlds around us happening all the time. Many timelines exist, and more are being created by the divine mind within, the God within, the divine mind within, and it's Akasha. Akasha, Akashai, excuse me, Akasha, which is a Hindu word called divine substance. The divine substance of the mind, the universe, collects and gathers and holds on to these thought patterns and emotional feelings that get what? Tattooed out into the universe. And we all have this opportunity to free ourselves from the tattoos of the universe. In other words, we don't have to live the scenario that we're seeing. I forget this woman's name. She had her page up on TikTok. She's a very good, as a good spiritualist. Actively activates a lot of things, and she was saying something that I say often for myself. She says, before you go to sleep at night, say that you're going to find and live a different, completely different timeline. And then she says, when you awaken in the morning, say, I'm living that new timeline now. And she says, do that for a process of 3 nights in a row, and then you should have the experience. So 3 nights in a row, waking up the third day, and you should have a different experience. Well, this is how I would always have taught it, because I do everything using meditation. If I left it up to me to go off to sleep, I may not remember anything. I may not remember that I called it into effect. So let's do a meditation right now, where all of this out in the world ain't is not our rabbit hole. We're not going down that rabbit hole. We're going to stay afloat in a new world. And the new world that we're going to be in is the one that we are creating. And here's the fact that you have to understand: you are consciously, unconsciously, and subconsciously changing the new timeline all the time. It's based on what you feel, not also what you see, but also what you are feeling. So before I close this out, let's get into a state of mind where you just start breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Do that about 3 or 4 times. I want you to prepare to create a zone of white light, blue light, purple light, whatever light you color light you want. But it's got to be a high frequency. It should look like it's iridescent. It's the iridescent flow of light over your head that's coming from all of your cells. Your cells are radiating this into other cells, into bone structure, into bone marrow, into your skin, into your muscles, into your tendons, into various glands, into your eyes, your nails, toenails, fingernails, and hair. You're putting forth this energy, this beautiful, wondrous light. We're going to make it a white light right now. But as you go further, you might feel that you should add another color ray into it. You're going to infuse the white light with that color ray that your higher self is asking you to do. But right now, as you inhale, you're drawing the most positive of energies towards you. And as you exhale, you're allowing it to spread throughout your body and back out into the ethers, into the world around you. Inhaling again. Don't hold it too much. Release it. So this time when you inhale, I want you to hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale a little bit and then release it. Might feel a little dizziness. That's just all the static energy, stuck energy, toxic energy that's inside the body that needs to get out. Now you hold it for whatever length of time you want between the inhalation and exhalation, but don't do it so long that you feel dizzy, okay? Inhale, hold, then exhale. Freeing yourself from old static energy. Do it one more time. Exhale. Now, while you're busy inhaling and exhaling without pausing now, I want you to bring forth from your highest state of consciousness to you, highest state of consciousness and awareness to you, drawing on that higher plateau of Akashic energy, divine energy, and the divine energy embedded in your cells, in your heart. Those same things are in the solar vibrations. And this time, when you inhale and exhale, you're sending it into all regions of your body. While you're busy inhaling and exhaling, you are doing this from a state of absolute grace abundance, unconditional love, peace, and harmony, eternal truth for yourself. Know that you are one with the universe on many plateaus, many realms of existence. And there are billions, trillions of timelines. And there's many that match your specific vibration right now. And in those brand new timelines that you are choosing for yourself to draw into this current life, you expect to receive. You're expecting to be whole and complete. Now just relax into it. Know that you can choose one or many, but here's the factor: it is right and perfect for you, and it's overflowing with peace, harmony, and happiness. And it's overflowing with financial blessings and increases for you, so that you have healthier finances, healthier emotions, healthier mind, healthier thoughts pouring out of you. And know that you are well and one with the universe, with yourself at all times. Know that you are awesome. You're practical, you're brilliant, you're intelligent, you are divinely protected internally and externally. Divine light rolls around in your home and on your property, in and outside your car. Divine light in your clothing. Divine light in your food. Divine light in the water that you drink. You look at it and you see it fizz up with light as you're calling forth the peace, harmony, and the happiness. You are back to drawing into your life more positive thinking people, more positive acting people, more positive speaking people, more positive people who are joyful just like you, who work with yourself and raising consciousness to be higher and raising healing dynamics to be higher. And know that everyone who comes in touch with you feels that warmness, that wellness, that understanding, that unconditional love. And know that you are automatically in control of yourself, automatically at rest. You are peaceful. You are harmonious. You are happy. You are always well. There's no beginning and no ending. So your world, our world will not end. It can't. We are not of the world that is an illusion. We are infinite. We are immortal. We are blessed. We are in command of our own lives. And we are now creating a new timeline for ourselves. And this timeline includes your loved ones and people who are in harmony with you. You are always bringing forth the peace, harmony, and happiness, divine grace, unconditional love, divine justice that balances your life out in a harmonious and positive way. giving your body perfect health at the same time, making you whole and complete. Wellness is yours, well being and goodness is yours. The body is back to healing itself. You are free of the matrix of the third dimensional world because you stepped in fourth density, which is the heart center, where you are giving out compassion, understanding, love, unconditional love. And you are protected from anything that no longer belongs to you, protected from anything that would produce a dis-ease in you. You are protected from all things that are no longer serve you because you're only present for those things that serve you wisely and in a loving manner. Thank you for joining me today. My grace is your grace. Until next time, understand that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. Look forward to do this next week as well at 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Central, and 3 p.m. Eastern. And if you're in other time zones, you're probably just getting up in the morning and you get a chance to see it. Thank you so much for your time. See you soon.